math. Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about your experience with PCS season and about how you help people that are inbound to the Camp Lejeune area.
Well, PCS season is definitely a vastly different experience based on your rank and where you are at in life. As a young Marine, it was very easy, right? You throw a few things in a sea bag, throw them in the back of
Hell
your
yeah. Yep.
Chevy Colorado or your Ford Ranger and truck across country, right? And then you get a nice payday at the end of the day because you did everything yourself.
I used to lay out a blanket and then I would tie all my stuff inside the blanket and throw it over my. I was gone. That's all I needed.
And then as you get a little older and you start growing roots and a family, it gets more and more difficult every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was married by the time I was a sergeant, and the kids started coming and
complexity.
Right, and the flexibility it gets about the same.
Flexibility decreases, complexity increases.
Right. And so you find yourself, the first time's a real struggle, right? Because then you find out there's so much planning into going to it, and then you miss almost everything, right? So you get all your stuff packed and you get it over to DMO and out the door, and you're like 2 days before you got to go, and you're like, I didn't clean this house. Now what do I do? Now you got to hire cleaners to come in, people to shampoo the carpet. But as time went by, my last PCS from Camp Pendleton to Lejeune, I had all that squared down. And that's one of the great things about using a veteran realtor is that they've had that experience and they know to give you those kind of guidances, right? So on my last PCS move, I did 3 DMO moves. I did one where they came and cleaned out the house and decluttered everything. So they took everything we didn't need for the next 6 months. They came 90 days out and took everything down to the bare minimum that we could survive without. Mm-hmm. And then on just 5 days prior to actually having to drive cross country, they removed everything from garden tools to my wood shop and all that. And we were down to, an air mattress for a couple days. And we spent those 5 days cleaning, Marine Corps style, minus a Fabuloso. And scrubbed from ceiling to floor and prepped everything. And then when we stepped out, had a professional painter / brother-in-law come in and repaint all the walls down to pure white. I normally don't recommend repainting, but our wall, we lived in that home for 14 years.
Yeah.
So
the value is going to go up.
Let me rephrase that.
A little bit of paint, the value is going to go up a little bit more.
So we had crazy colors and crazy patterns, so we had to paint. But usually, if you have muted tones on your wall, all you need to do is a little bit of patch repair most of the time. So those experiences through the year, you get a client that's like, yeah, we're getting ready to move from Camp Pendleton. I'm a sergeant, I'm married, and you're like, things are about to get very interesting for you. And then when you get over here, the worst part is you still have to be a Marine, right? So you're lucky enough that you get 8 days to move cross country, and then you get a whole whopping 10 days to find a home and try and move in. And it never works that way.
Yeah.
So knowing those things and being able to prepare them, like, listen, the journey begins for the first 10 days, but it's going to have to continue after that because the likelihood of you finding a home in 10 days that meets all your needs and your desires is minuscule, especially around here with the housing shortage.
Yeah, there's definitely a housing shortage around here. And then a lot of people don't understand, they have this conception that you can only have one VA loan at a time. So they tell themselves that, hey, I'm having a PCS from Camp Pendleton to Camp Lejeune. I have to sell my house. And a lot of times it's not necessarily going to be in their best benefit to sell their house, depending on how much it is and so on and so forth. But a lot of times you can rent that house out, especially if you got orders. And now you can have essentially 2 properties with a VA loan and essentially start establishing a pretty lucrative way of getting passive income through just your service through the military, because you get to utilize your VA loan over and over and over again with bonus entitlement, especially if you have PCS orders. So that's definitely something. It's like a common misconception that everybody kind of gets. Another thing that I've seen